Hello, true loves, and welcome to our podcast.
So this episode 3, we're going to dive into a little bit about love and relationships, our own experiences, the love languages, and how we are surviving and thriving in this dating environment,
In this climate,
and how we are learning and growing as we evolve and connect with other human beings. So yeah, we are your host, your neighborhood friendly, nature loving,
health food eating, free spirited, environmentally and socially conscious,
art loving, big auntie energy, gifted and always somewhere dancing and singing sisters.
I am Tyra.
And I'm Sharon, and this is the Awakened Podcast. Applause. Woohoo! Welcome back with our episode number 3. We've been here twice before. That's pretty exciting. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about this?
I'm feeling good. I feel like our last episode was really deep. Our first one was just exposing.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys check those out. But so I'm hoping to keep it light here, keep it fun, keep it fresh.
Keep it chill, for sure.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited. Every time we do these episodes, I learn about myself, so I like that. I'm excited to see what I'm learning about myself right now and what I'm working on. What is your favorite love language? If you're watching at home, reflect on this with us a little bit. If you have many, what are your love languages? And if you don't know, there are 5 love languages. So they are words of affirmation, receiving gifts, physical touch, acts of service, and quality time.
I could not choose one.
Oh, yeah, that's why I said if you have multiple, then choose like a couple.
Well, I mean, like all of them.
Oh, okay.
Like all of them, yes.
Okay, I respect that.
I think especially at different times because, yeah, it depends on how I'm feeling and I need certain things at different times. So I feel like maybe the most important would be definitely quality time, I think. Quality time.
Yeah, I think you're definitely a big quality time person. I'm realizing I think most people would resonate with having multiple that they feel like are their love languages. Preparing for this episode made me realize, in just the past couple of months of my life, made me realize how much of a words of affirmation person that I am. I think I was in denial about that for some reason, that wasn't something I really loved, but I'm a huge words of affirmation person, as well as I think quality time and acts of service and physical touch. So probably all as well. But maybe the top 2 are words of affirmation and physical touch. Our next question that we have, and again, we love for our viewers to reflect on the questions that we're asking in this episode at home. So if you have any comments or insights that you want to add to the conversation, feel free to comment below.
Collaborate in your journal with your guides, your intuition.
Or talk with your besties at home about this. What do you think about the current state of dating in this society? I feel like I just had to take it.
This is so off topic, but I've been rewatching like old episodes of Sex and the City. I started this show, Valeria, and it really shows, how we can have different expectations within relationships and how our past informs our present and what we expect, and then showing the different dynamic between women. Some want more committed relationships, some might want more polyamorous or open relationships, things like that.
Yeah.
So I think that especially that those shows are great examples of that, or maybe even Insecure, that's a good one. Examples of what it's like dating now. Been helping me really reflect. But maybe I want to ask what you think first.
Everything is so layered. Men and women are so layered.
It is a beautiful day out here.
It's gorgeous. It's like unreal, kind of. Feels like a dream.
The birds are chirping.
Which trickles into the dating world. We could all use a lot more compassion for one another, like for other cultures, other genders, other experiences that we may not know or feel like we can relate to. So I think that would help a lot in dating. So because instead of like boxing someone in or having a certain expectation of them, we'd be able to just see them as an individual and not have those limitations onto them. So yeah, and generally just as women, I'm always here also for being an advocate for women in dating and just in life, to speak up for yourself and not to be afraid to know what you want and voice that. in any relationship or in any situation. So
the information is there. There's so many podcasts, there's so many videos, there's so many books too, but that doesn't like patch up everything that we've experienced. So like you still bring yourself when you're dating, and especially when you're meeting online, even though it's easier to maybe access people who are readily available. And with the information there, I don't necessarily feel that, we're doing the work, but it's like we're doing the work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just because the information is there doesn't mean that everyone is doing the work.
No, it doesn't.
And I do know that like a lot of people feel very bombarded with so much of the information that's on social media. Something I was shocked by within my recent dating experiences is like I expected more casual, like a more casual approach, but I'm realizing that not everybody is so casual. And I think for me, because I want to do the work, I see myself as someone who's doing the work, I have to move at a slower pace. So I don't know, it's like just because the information is there doesn't necessarily mean that like we are there. And then I don't mind meeting people online. Like I don't, like some people hate it. I don't think it's always a bad thing.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities to meet people.
Yeah.
I think people feel like without social media it was impossible. I don't think that that's necessarily true.
No.
You can definitely meet people in person. Without social media, it makes you cling to social media a lot less and be more just open to whatever may happen.
Great point that you're making about the information being there, but that doesn't mean that people are doing the work. And it just makes me think about how much like misogyny is ingrained into our minds in society, whether you're a man or a woman. And I feel like this specifically does affect dating on both sides, although we like to see it as so separate because it does create certain expectations and people to play certain roles that they may not be willing to play. And I also agree that there are definitely other unorthodox ways to meet people and date and go about that. I think in the past I definitely was someone that was comfortable with like if someone messaged me on Instagram, like I started texting them for a while, like get to feel their vibe, and then okay, like we can go on a date and we can feel each other's auras and see if we're a match. But today I think I might be possibly a little bit more open to meeting someone in person because I feel like you could definitely pick up their energy better. But either way, like only time can tell when you're getting to know someone.
That's another thing with information. It's like you could be getting your information from a completely different source, so it might condone something that you're not necessarily into.
Yeah.
And obviously men and women are sold completely different things when it comes to dating, but it can help.
Yes,
It can help.
Yeah, you're making me realize that like for me it's about a balance of information and like understanding. It's making me want to shout out to Jubilee, the YouTube channel that showcases like varying different perspectives, and some people hate content like that because it gets very like clickbaity, but at the same time I think it can just open people up to certain conversations that they would not have in their regular life because they're not meeting those type of people on the day-to-day. So I feel like that creates space for understanding when you see a different experience from your own and you're able to connect with another perspective. They just prefer that, and that's just what they prefer, cultivating understanding for other human beings. That's really
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, preference and experience probably trump information currently. But obviously in the future, hopefully that information helps. I don't know, because I feel like even with education being gatekept, and now we just have so much information at our fingertips.
No,
so
that's a good point. It doesn't mean that we're doing the work. It's like, how can we shift that, to hold ourselves accountable? I think it definitely gets to a point, though, if an individual doesn't want to do the work, they're not going to do it. I know this is the part we have all been avoiding, but simultaneously waiting for. Let's talk about exes for a second. What have you learned from your past romantic experiences? And if you have any, what are your red flags when dating with the knowledge that you've gained from those experiences?
honestly, you couples out there that have been with your person or known your person for a while, or even people who reconcile with people that they've known for so long, like,
No, I love that. I'm not gonna lie.
Appreciate that kind of relationship. The relationship was healthy and you reconcile with that person. Like, those are some of the most beautiful love stories, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Or like, you guys have known each other from childhood and you grow together. Like, that is definitely the type of relationship I'm looking for, but I don't necessarily think I have much to return to. All love with my exes on my end. Definitely wouldn't reconcile with any of my exes, to be quite frank. But I definitely reflect on them very often, actually. I reflect on those relationships a lot and try to extract the nectar, like like what I'm meant to learn. And I think I like still do a lot of like healing work and reflection around those partnerships. I think like you will naturally remember those people forever. So
yeah,
it's kind of,
I think especially when it was a lot of your firsts, that does create a memorable experience, because it's like the first time I experienced going on a date or whatever the case may be.
How about you?
So for me, the other day I was scrolling through Twitter and there was this couple that was like, we were high school sweethearts and then we weren't together for years and then we reconciled. Like, those are the cutest stories ever. Like, I just wanted to like reiterate that.
Or like we were in other relationships,
and you can tell that like they just disconnected and it wasn't like a falling out, but it was just like they just took space and then grew. I think that's the beautiful part, is that you know that they got to grow as people and then return together. What have I learned from my past romantic experiences? Wow. I'm realizing that like as a young person, even as a little girl, like I did have this sense of self-love and confidence in myself. But when it came to asserting my boundaries and that confidence with other people, I wasn't so great at that. So I think with my past romantic experiences, that's really what I learned, is like using my voice and asserting my boundaries and knowing my value, knowing that you have a right to like speak up for yourself and also feel good in your relationships, like being loved and accepted unconditionally by another person. Like, that's not a something that you can, what is it called? It's a non-negotiable. Like, you deserve that in relationships. And so the more that I am learning to love myself and my inner child, I think that that's definitely what I've learned from my past romantic relationships, for sure.
What I feel I've learned up until this point is like maturity, taking accountability, but also expecting that of my person. And if you can't have that maturity or respect, self-respect, but also respect for me, then we can't grow together. We can't grow together.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like be controlled or dominated by someone. I'm also learning that I'm very much I can dominate as well.
Yeah.
As a woman, like,
you're a fiery person.
Yeah. So I need someone who can respect when I need to dominate and then when I need to be more submissive. So respecting like both sides of myself.
Yeah.
And can honor that, because I want to honor that within the other person, and like who sees me as more than just like arm candy, like not just a superficial relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's so
more
real.
depth.
I definitely resonate with that as well. Like, something that I don't know, after my last relationship in my teen years, that's the message I ingrained to myself, and I'm realizing I would say to myself over and over again, I cannot be with someone that can't get along with my inner child. Like, if we can't let our guard down, if we can't not be in our egos and like trying to be so perfect and so cool all the time, then like I can't do this. I have to be able to play, enjoy myself, and even be vulnerable. I have to be able to get ugly and cry and show all facets of being a human being and of myself.
I always say, if you can't laugh with your partner during sex, like, that's not your partner.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to laugh at yourself and laugh at your person.
That's true.
Be playful. I think sex is specifically vulnerable, very vulnerable time.
Yeah.
So I think like laughter in the bedroom, playfulness, lightheartedness. We say we let go, we say we move on, but that process takes longer than we realize.
And it's like, when you really move on, you won't have to tell everybody. Be like, I'm letting go, I'm moving on. If you have any, what are your red flags when dating today with the knowledge that you've gained from the past?
So I recently went on a date. I'm fresh off of a date.
Fresh off
and I had this list. Yeah, fresh out the streets. I had this list of red flags, and this person was zooming passed all of my flags with green flags. The red flags came out. So I feel like it made me realize that even when you have a list of what you think is a red flag, like I said, being jaded, like having those past experiences, like this is a red flag, this is a red flag, I realized that it's really situational.
Authenticity, not playing a character. I do think that's such a big part of the dating world, like playing a character. Like, you're the woman, so you're supposed to be like this, and I'm the man, so I'm supposed to be like this.
At this point, I can accept that like we are showing up as our best self, and we are presenting like we want to be loved.
Yeah,
of course. So we're
that's true.
showing up fully. End up as playing a character. Something I heard was take your date somewhere you are comfortable, like somewhere you've been in an environment that you're familiar with. The environment is the controlled element, and then now you're introducing this foreign person to your environment, and you really can feel what your body feels around that person. So definitely,
that's a really good point.
A green flag is like you're open to me and like what I like, but also where I like to go. I do like a guy who plans the date as well, but like collaboration would be nice.
Yeah.
Like understanding what I like, not trying to get my guard down. Red flag. I like to move slowly. I like to see how I feel, not just today, not just tomorrow, like over time.
Yeah.
My red flag would be moving too fast. I do kiss on a first date.
Yeah.
I will if I'm
Oh, I
feeling
definitely
you.
have.
Yeah.
I don't know your barber. I don't even know your mama.
Yeah.
Like,
so
come on now.
yeah, expecting too much after the first date, not remaining detached. I want to know that you're also open.
Being open, yeah.
Because I think if you're too attached to me, it's like you're looking for me to change your life or fulfill something that I'm just a person.
It's not your job to fill.
Yeah.
I think
and I have come with my own shit.
Yes. You have just made me realize, like, those red flags you mentioned, I've definitely experienced all of those in the past. Like, so for young girls out there, especially young women, like, rushing, trying to get you in a vulnerable state, or like being controlling or forcing something upon you.
Don't be afraid to assert your masculine energy. Afraid to be intimidating, because I think a lot more people will find that attractive than you think. But be
and
with
the right
someone,
people will respect that.
Yes,
they will
be with
respect
someone
it.
who respects it.
What do you think is important in a partnership moving forwards? In other words, what are your green flags? Because we got to talk about those too.
I definitely need to be pampered and like taken care of, because I know that I can provide that.
That's
I
real.
really love to take care of my person, and like specifically like emotionally, I like to hold you down. I'm very loyal. I also really, really love my freedom, because I am very ambitious, and I will always be. And so I want to be with someone who's equally as creative as I am and equally as driven as I am, and not in a competitive way, in like a supportive way, but also being able to, again, dial back and have intimacy, vacations, you know what I mean?
My green flags are definitely someone that's going to move at a slow pace, like we said, and also honoring my boundaries, not being intimidated by my confidence in my star power that I feel that I have. And so my green flag would be someone that knows their value and sees their own star power and what they bring to the table, and can see how our energies together can build something beautiful and creative. Self-worth, definitely a green flag. Self-confidence is a green flag, but like real self-confidence, and that includes sometimes admitting your flaws and like being vulnerable, being honest, caring. It's not just pretending. Another green flag would be someone that has like a passion for their life. Like, it doesn't have to be creative, as I really enjoy creative things, but like has something that they're building that they feel is their purpose. Because I feel like I'm definitely very purpose driven, heart driven. Anything that inspires me, pushes me to keep going forward in life, and makes me want to get up in the morning. So it's like not necessarily that you have to know your whole purpose at our young age, but like at least be exploring and willing to be open and finding what those things are for you. Those would be my green flags.
Stability, like someone who's stable.
Oh,
like you're not in the
yeah.
midst of a transition in your life, or you're not down on your luck or like feeling down. Like, I think I won't tolerate someone who's reaching for a relationship to pull themselves up.
Ooh, that's so real.
So yeah, definitely that just contributes to like self-esteem.
Yeah.
Like, you're in a good place. You're in a place where being in a relationship makes sense.
Yeah. Green flag, you feel whole as you are in the present moment. You don't need anything to cover that up. A relationship, you feel whole. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Period. What is your intention with the partnerships that you seek at this point in your journey? I realize that's kind of personal, so we don't have to answer
I want to
that.
answer this.
Okay.
I do. I'm dating to marry, meaning I'm not desperate. I'm not desperate. I am grounded. I love my independence and I love my isolation. So if I'm dating to marry, meaning if I invite you in and I keep seeing you and I'm enjoying our time together, like, I want you to know that that's rare, and I want you to know that you're appreciated, and I want you to know that I value you because where I'm at right now, I am in a healing phase. I know I'm in a transition. So it has to make sense. So I think that people think, like, when you're dating, this is what my surprise about being in the dating sphere is that, like, people will assume that you are desperate. Don't get it confused. So I think that is my intention, is like, yes, I am dating to marry, but I am taking my time. That is what, like, marriage is. It's like a long-term commitment. It's showing up for each other every single day, being with each other through everything. Life can be like mundane. So if you can't be still with me, if you can't accept my regularness and my grandiose, like, you can't accept both sides of myself. And I come with my own baggage, and that's something I learned from my last relationships. Like, they come with their own baggage. I definitely want children. I definitely want a family. And I know that that would take time. So I'm not in any rush. If you show me red flags, like, I have to move on.
This is making me realize also that this question could be answered so differently by different people, because everyone's intention with partnerships that they seek can be so different. But yeah, I feel like my intention with the partnerships that I am seeking or allowing to enter my life at the divine pace that they are coming in is my answer is, like, in the question, which is like partnerships. I feel like some people like that word, some people don't, but I really like that word because I feel like it takes me out of that thinking of the conditioning that we've seen for partnerships. So, like, it can only be a man and a woman and they act a certain way and they treat each other a certain way. Like, a partnership, I feel like we're partners in life. Like, I'm seeking someone that I can obviously grow with emotionally, but also spiritually and, like, financially, like, building things that we care about together and building a family community. So someone that's very community and family focused. A green flag is gratitude, like someone that can be grateful for the small things. So that's definitely something I'm seeking in partnership, because it's like, if we're building a little home, or even if we're working together, building something we care about, creating family, building that, it takes gratitude to get through those difficult moments. So it's like, even on the to be grateful and to receive that gratitude, and yes, to be matched with that 100%, because I feel like if in the very beginning stages you're showing that, like, we can't just sit in nature and, like, be grateful for the sunshine and, like, the little things or the waves by the ocean. Like, if I'm gonna spend years and years with you, we have to be able to be grateful for life, and I guess, like you said, the mundane. So it kind of goes hand in hand with that. But yeah, I want a partnership, not someone that's gonna be like, you're my wife, go cook me dinner. Like, sometimes I'm not gonna want to do that. I need help. Or sometimes I might want to cut the grass one day. I'm an unconventional person. Like, I want a partner. I do like the term wife. Like, I respect it, and I respect people that resonate with it. But, like, sometimes I might feel, like doing supposed masculine and manly things, and I want to be respected for that. And be seen as equal.
Even when you're in a friendship, and even if you have other relationships, like, especially when you're hanging out just you two. How you bounce off of each other matters.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the expectation of that relationship, but it does have to work for you. It doesn't have to be functional.
Yeah.
So
I guess that ties back to someone not playing a character, but also not projecting onto you a character. Because if you're seeing me as an individual and as my present self, who I really am, that's very easy to do, to allow me to show up as I am and see my needs and the support that I need. And I guess I also see partnership as like the ability to support another person, support one another in the ways that you need in any facet of life. Like, it's not just limited to physical, not just emotional, like any, like even we could be business partners one day, we could be tennis partners the next. Like, we could show up for each other in any of those ways. Like, that's how I see it.
But I'm also open to having like other relationships that can fulfill, you know,
that's true, yeah,
certain other things. But I don't, not to expect one person to be everything. It's just like it has to work. It has to be functional.
yeah,
It has to. We should be able to coexist and co-create in a way that is beneficial. That's not just like holding one or both parties back. So
right.
that's what I mean. It's like I'm not expecting you to be everything, and because I will have other relationships that will fill those places, but I'm just looking for someone that has a similar vision, I guess.
What is your advice to women out there looking for something similar? Why should you never settle?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say don't settle.
Yeah.
Because it's like grieve the past versions of yourself, grieve your old, expectations and like visions for what you thought would be. Because like, especially when we're younger, we usually want the opposite of what we grew up with or something similar to what we grew up with. So allow yourself to grieve those old perspectives and then be really open, because, you could receive something better. And obviously then at the same time, protect what really matters. Protect the parts that actually matter, the things that you really do need. Because I was raised this way, I'm going to need someone who's like this, because your partner is going to take care of you. Like, no one wants to hear that, but it's like, you're going to take care of that person. So it has to be someone you're willing to bend for, compromise with. It has to be healthy compromise. It has to be healthy nurturing. Because especially if you want to go on to have children. And that's another thing. It's like, grieve if you wanted children when you were younger, grieve that you might not. And not to say that you won't, but just grieve that fear, or vice versa. Like, some people say they're never going to have kids and then they love kids because they meet the right person. So don't let your upbringing or experiences define what, could be good for you. And not everyone is meant to have a traditional relationship. Open relationships exist. There is so much information out there, and you don't have to have kids. You don't have to go the traditional route. So I would say, like, grieve any perspectives that don't benefit you. Take your time. Take your time. And if you don't find the right person, I would say stop looking. Like, just accept where you are.
Dang, that's real AF.
Like, just accept.
That's real AF. I feel like that trickles into our next couple of questions. I feel like you answered that pretty well, so I think we can move on to the next question. So the next question you kind of answered, but I'm still going to ask it, which is, what is your dating advice to young men and women out there in the dating world today? And we've kind of touched on this throughout the episode, but I would say just like open-mindedness and really doing that inner work to like deconstruct those limiting points of view that you may have been indoctrinated with throughout your life. So similar to grieving, but it's more like, I guess, the societal aspect instead of like your family and your childhood. It's really taking accountability, whether you're a man or a woman, of what perspective you may be projecting onto the other person that could be harmful. I think that is very helpful, especially in the dating world today, to arm yourself with that awareness and thus like confidence that you can show up and be a kind and compassionate person, whether it's a woman or a female. I mean, a woman or a male, it shouldn't matter. It's like you should be able to just see them as human and accept them. And if they're not what you're looking for, then, you know, move on to the next, or like you said, take time for yourself.
There may not be any men who watch this or listen to this podcast, but if you do and you did want my advice, first of all, don't come here, listen to my advice that you didn't want, and then make a comment about it. If you don't want this advice, turn this off right now. But if there's men who are listening who want to hear what I have to say and my perspective and my advice, me, Tyra Bell, keep listening. Okay, so that was the trigger warning. That was the disclaimer. No comments.
For real.
Leave your comments in your
with the peanut gallery.
With the peanut gallery. But so young men, it's not a crime to be vulnerable. You just need to be around the right people and friends who support your vulnerability. One. Stop being in denial that you want to be loved and you want to have a relationship and have a family if that's what you want. So grieve and purge any of those blockages. Make it conscious. Make those subconscious blockages conscious. So relationships are reflections. The way you treat your partner is how, you know, it's the way you want to be treated. So karmically, you will receive that same feeling in return. It doesn't necessarily make you a better person. So respect the power within a woman, respect her natural beauty, her natural essence, and let her uplift you, because then you can uplift her. And that give and take is important, especially within sex. It's an energy exchange, and you want to be exchanging with someone who improves your life, who improves your vitality, who improves your, you know, whatever. But it's like you need to honor that and respect it. Allow yourself to be dominated. I'm talking in the bedroom as well, if that's what you need. But like, respect, honor that. Don't just see a woman's power and want to dismantle it. But vice versa, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a woman. It can be someone who has feminine essence, because I think we still live in that kind of patriarchal thinking, and you won't hear that advice anywhere else. And just know, if you're getting in a relationship to play a game, you're going to get that game right back.
Eventually.
So be sovereign, be vulnerable, and if it's a miss and it's a miss and it's a miss and it's just not working out for you, same advice that I gave to the women, like, stop looking. I think that when I'm not saying give up, I'm just saying stop looking. Detach and go within. I
think too that same advice applies to people that are just going out to play games to distract from their problems. Like, obviously, if you want to just keep receiving games and be in that cycle, you will do that. But like, if you find that you're kind of waking up and realizing you're not at the place in your relationships that you want to be, or that you're not proud of, I think you should definitely take a step back and like, okay, why do I keep perpetuating this kind of relationship type of violence? And, you know, take accountability for yourself for sure.
Think accept that relationships are messy and they're difficult. Doesn't matter if you're in a healthy one. Like, there will be difficulties, there will be rough patches, there will be triggers. So it's like, you want to do that with someone who makes you feel good about it. Like, who's someone who comforts the blow, and like, not in a people pleasing way. Just like, this person's real. They're not threatened by me. They respect me. And they show up for me to the extent that they can. They don't overextend, but they also like, respect my boundaries, things like that. So I think like, it's within the right medium, within the right context. And if you're not getting that from someone, whatever. And if you're just looking for casual hookups and sex, that's great too. But just make sure that like, all parties involved know what's going on.
There should still be a level of respect, even over your body and your boundaries and your agency.
And anyone who's dealing with a chronic cheater, just know that like, that person is deeply insecure. And if you don't want an open relationship, then just be honest and be transparent and like, move on with your life. Be honest with yourself. And then also, that person, it's like, if you are a chronic cheater, deal with those insecurities if you want to have a healthy relationship. But if you don't, find people who are in open relationships, and then confront those insecurities head on. Like, be real. The game of love should be such, like, less complicated. It's already complicated enough, but it's like, there's also like, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I say it like 1,000 times. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer.
Yeah.
Because my ex
Same.
is watching like, boo, tomato, tomato, tomato. But yeah, I'm not a perfect person. I'm learning. Like I said, I'm trying to raise my maturity as well. But it's like, I have to practice what I preach, and I'm trying to do that to the best I can. We're going to make mistakes. So like, be with a partner who is understanding.
Yeah.
Let them, even if they need to like hate you for a second, like, that's better.
They gotta
than-
complete the stress cycle. They gotta let it out for a second.
Yes. That's better than forcing someone to be with you or manipulating someone,
Mm-hmm.
not being transparent, not being vulnerable.
It's true. Relationships in general, whether they're like romantic or not, they're gonna have ups and downs. They're gonna have moments where you can't stand the other person, but like, it should never be out of disrespect. It's just like, when you grow together, sometimes it's you grow together and you grow apart and you just keep growing. Like,
Yeah. But as someone who completely stopped dating for like years and is recently getting back into the game, I just want to say to those people who aren't dating right now, like, don't give up.
yeah.
It's, life is short, but life is long at the same time. Like,
Mhm.
there's time. There's a lot of time. So take your time if you feel like you're
For
not there
real.
yet.
That's advice, especially to the young women out there being programmed to think that they don't have time to like find it and have the life and the family that they want. Like, you got time, girl. You young. I don't care. I don't care.
I feel like, especially if you're just going through a breakup, which it's been a while for me, but like at that time, it just feels like that person has like claimed this like space over you, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
you've been off limits for so long, so then when you are finally single, it kind of feels like no one's ready to step towards you, but obviously you're kind of in that hurt space too, so it's like you have this red flag
Shield around you.
yeah. And so that was really hard, especially as someone who likes to flirt and likes to be out there. So it's like, enjoy that period as well. Enjoy your healing
Yeah.
as much as you can.
That leads into the next question. I would like to answer this question because I feel like I'm here for it. So, how would you describe life being single, and do you prefer it? And for my answer, as of right now, I do prefer it. And that is because I feel like I know that I will be ready for a relationship when I don't prefer being single. When I prefer to be with another person, that is like bringing love and peace into my life rather than taking those things, then I will know that's when I prefer that. So it is always susceptible to change, obviously, but right now it's like my peace and the love that I'm cultivating and building within myself, and even the confidence and the courage that I'm building within myself, is so important to me, and I feel like really defining for the person that I'm becoming, the person I will be as I age. So I feel like that is very sacred to me, and that's something that I want to protect. And so with that, like I said, I prefer it until someone can add to the things that I'm building for myself and within myself. So yeah. But with life being single, I would describe it as it's like dual. It's very dual, as all things are. It's very great, but at times it can be challenging. It also has its challenges like anything else. And especially with like, if you're used to being in a relationship, or if you dream about those things, like we said, that's part of your vision, that's part of something that you want for yourself, it can be difficult. And so I think that it's definitely challenging me to grow and to gain more independence and belief in myself as an individual person and what I bring to the table. So yeah, that's where I'm at with being single right now. I'm chilling. But it is open to change if those requirements and my needs are being met by another person. 1 to like 5 years,
Yeah.
for both of us.
If I would have told my like 21-year-old self, you're going to stop like being in monogamous relationships halfway through your 20s, and you're going to be just single and vibing, I would have probably panicked because I was so used to having someone there, even if it wasn't the best thing for me. So it's like I definitely learned I appreciate all that, but yes, my singlehood is great. It's fabulous. I feel like I'm getting to learn myself independent, or love myself and learn myself independently. And obviously you get to then experiment with so many options. And so that's fun. That's really fun. Because you still are learning, even though it's not just one singular person. It's making me very much more picky. My standards are a lot higher. Yeah, I just am excited to meet people who are more open to who I am now, and versus who I was. And so yeah, if I had to describe it, I would say fabulous. Fabulous. Is it hard? Yes. I think especially before my moon time, I turn into like putty. Like when I get my period, I turn into literal like melted chocolate, like fondant. Someone who like respects my cycles, respects my femininity, and like can hold me when I'm feeling extremely vulnerable, but also like be there with me when I'm feeling fierce. So I think singlehood has really brought that fire and passion back into my life. And then also I would say, if I had to also describe it, I would say sexy. It's very sexy. Yeah, I definitely have fun by myself, if you know what I mean. And I'm enjoying that self-exploration without a partner.
Yeah.
And it can be done, ladies, and I think it's necessary.
Underrated.
So,
you just made me think of another word that describes singlehood is definitely liberating.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah. I think liberating and comfortable, learning to be more comfortable with yourself. Lastly, how have you learned to be more conscious in your relationships in general while both reflecting on the past and looking forward to the future? So basically, how have you learned to be a more conscious partner in your day-to-day relationships and things like that? Dang, this is kind of a hard question. I think definitely learning to not put myself on the back burner. I think that's the most conscious thing I could do as like someone who is undoing people pleasing, like learning to really put myself first and be more outspoken and put my opinion out there, even if I upset someone or even if it might not be what someone wants to hear. I think that's me being more conscious, because that's something that was sort of imbalanced within myself before. And I think that for my future relationships, obviously that's going to create within me a much more present person and partner that I can be. So yeah, that's really all I can think of.
Yeah, I definitely want to, like, I've been preaching respect throughout this whole thing, so obviously I know I can lead in a relationship, so I need to be way more soft and allow that person to lead, and then respect someone who can lead, you know? So I want to be way more open to someone who's a leader in their world, and just having the confidence to stand next to that person and not be like threatened by their authority, but also like that same respect in return. So if I want to mature, I want a mature person, so I need to mature.
Anytime I'm prioritizing myself, my emotional, physical, spiritual needs, I'm just literally a better person. Like, it's like a switch. Like, I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but like when I really listen to myself and honor my boundaries and things like that, and don't feel bad for speaking up or try to cater what other people may want, I'm just happier in general, and I feel like that obviously affects the way that I treat people and can show kindness and have the capacity to be there for people. So yeah, I think that's just really the main thing for me, to be more conscious in partnerships. For sure.
I feel like I'm already very aware, like when it's all unraveling. I think also just knowing that like I also have a wild side, my shadow, like a wild side, And it can definitely get caught up in, well, I used to just get caught up in trying to especially fix people, but that's like manipulation at the end of the day. It's like, so I think my wild side wants to party, wants to have fun, wants to be risque. So getting to savor that for myself and then be with someone who can bring out the best of my shadow or honor my shadow, and not lead me astray is really important. So
I feel like really just being who you truly are is the best bet. The more you self-reflect, the more you let go of what is not in alignment with that, the more that you can meet with people that are on your level of what you truly are and truly want to be moving forward. That's really it.
Force shit. Don't force a damn thing.
Don't force shit. Definitely don't force shit. Don't try to play build a brother or build a we're not doing that over here. Let people be where they're at. You on that level, okay, I'm staying over here. I'm not gonna join you, and I'm not trying to bring you over here. Doesn't make me better or worse. It just means this is where I'm at.
It's okay to hold your vision and manifest. So we're not saying give up. We're not saying not set intentions.
Definitely set intentions for sure. That's a good way that you can consciously show up in your relationships, setting intentions for your friendships, for your future partnerships that you want to be in. That's a really good point. How we show up more consciously in our relationships is not only setting those intentions, but making sure that our intentions are in alignment with the people that we're meeting. Because I feel like that can show up in ways like that. Like I might have the intention of something more casual and you're looking for something else. So definitely,
and that's okay.
Open and communicating.
That's okay if you have those intentions set and you meet someone and it's not it.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think that, yeah, that's definitely happened to me throughout this trial period. It's like I said, there was all these green flags, and then the truth is revealed. Yeah,
you live and you learn. That's literally the only thing I can think.
So you have to be open to learn, and that's why it's important to, even if you're dating to marry, remain casual. You're not desperate. You're literally not. You're okay. Yeah. Everything's okay.
You will be okay. There's air.
They will be okay
oxygen.
If you say no.
That is literally all she wrote. That's all we have for today for this episode. Whether you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and go check out the video if you haven't already. The video version of this episode, if you haven't already, give it a like. And I think that's it.
Stay true.
Other than that, stay true. This is Sharon.
This is Tyra.
And we're signing off.
Peace.